Good morning, student friends. Today I continue some properties of congruences. In the last video, I gave the definition of congruences and some few properties have been proved. Now some more properties and how to apply the congruences in different types of problems. How to define congruent modulo M? A and B are any two integers and m is a positive integer. We say that A is congruent to B mod M or modulo M if and only M divides A minus B. This is the definition. Now we have proved some properties and this property remains. What is that? If A is congruent to B mod M, then A raised to n is congruent to B raised to n mod M, where n is any positive integer. This property has many applications. First I prove this. What is given? Given A is congruent to B mod M means M divides A minus B. This is given. Now consider A raised to n minus B raised to n. What you have to prove? You have to prove that if A is congruent to B mod M, A raised to n is congruent to B raised to n mod M. This you have to prove. That means you have to prove that M divides A raised to n minus B raised to n when M divides A minus B. Now I consider this A raised to n minus B raised to n. What is this? Factorize like this: A minus B into A raised to n minus 1, A raised to n minus 2 into B, A raised to n minus 3 into B square, plus so on, plus B raised to n minus 1. It is factorized like this. Now A and B are any two integers. Therefore, these terms becomes some integer. Therefore, A raised to n minus B raised to n is A minus B into K. Now, from 1, M divides A minus B. Therefore, M divides A minus B into K, where K is some integer. This is property of divisibility. If M divides A, M divides AX. Therefore, M divides A raised to n minus B raised to n. Because what is this A minus B into K? It is A raised to n minus B raised to n. This implies A raised to n is congruent to B raised to n mod n. Now this property has many applications. One important application is in solving this type of problems. Find the remainder when 2 raised to 300 is divided by 5. See the number 2 raised to 300. If you calculate this number 2 raised to 300, it is a very big number, 2 raised to 300. But using this congruence and this property and many other properties of congruent modulo M, we can easily find out. Within 2-3 steps we can find out. Without finding that what is that number, without expanding that number 2 raised to 300, we find the remainder when that number is divided by 5. See, what is the procedure? First we consider small power. 2 square we consider. It is minus 1 mod 5. I write this there. All of you understood this one. 2 square is congruent to minus 1 mod 5. Because what is the definition? A is congruent to B mod M means M divides A minus B. Or if and only if it is. Now what is 2 square? 4. 4 minus of minus 1 is 4 plus 1. And 5 divides 5. Therefore 5 divides 2 raised to 2 minus of minus 1, or 2 square is congruent to minus 1 mod 5. Now using this property, what is the property? D raised to n mod m. Using this property, we consider 2 square raised to 150 is congruent to minus 1 raised to 150 mod 5. Therefore 2 raised to 300 is congruent to 1 mod 5. Now what is this one? This one is nothing but the remainder when 2 raised to 300 is divided by 5. Because what is this? What does this imply? 5 divides 2 raised to 300 minus 1, or this 1 is the remainder when 2 raised to 300 is divided by 5. Now while using this property, you should be careful here. This number must be positive and less than this m. Then only this becomes the remainder. That is important. Because remainder must be, we use Euclid's algorithm, remainder must be non-negative and less than the divisor. So this must be less than m and it must be non-negative. So this is the remainder, 1 is the remainder. Second is, find the remainder when 3 raised to 50 is divided by 7. 3 raised to 50 is divided by 7. Again here we consider some small powers, so that we express that as plus or minus 1 mod n. Here m is 7. We have to consider some small powers, 3 square, 3 cube, 3 raised to 4, so on, and express that as plus or minus 1 mod 7. Now you know that 3 cube, what is 3 cube? 27. 27 is minus 1 mod 7. All of you understood this one? 27 minus of minus 1 is 28. So 28, 7 divides 28. So 3 cube is congruent to minus 1 mod 7. Now you take 3 cube raised to 16. If you take 17, it becomes 51. 3 raised to 51. So we take 16. 3 raised to, on both sides we take 16. It is mod 7. Follow this step. Beginning we have to consider some small powers and express that as plus or minus 1 mod m, and then take raised to the power n both sides, so that becomes near to the given number. Power is near to the power of the given number. What is this? 3 raised to 48 is congruent to 1 mod 7. Now this is 3 raised to 48, but we require the remainder when 3 raised to 50 is divided by 7. So what you have to do? 3 raised to 48 into 3 square is congruent to 3 square mod 7. Because in properties of these congruences, you have studied this. You can add any integer. That means if a is congruent to b mod m, then ax is congruent to bx mod m. This you have studied. I have used that property here. I have multiplied by 3 square, so that this becomes 3 raised to 50. Therefore 3 raised to 50 is congruent to 3 square, 9 mod 7. 9 mod 7. But you cannot take 9 as the remainder, because in the m here it is 7. Remainder must be non-negative, less than the divisor. Therefore we use this. 9 is congruent to 2 mod 7. This all of you follow? 9 is congruent to 2 mod 7, because 7 divides 9 minus 2. Now in set theory, while proving equivalence relations, while studying equivalence relations, we have studied this one. congruence modulo m is an equivalence relation. What do you mean by this? In set theory we have already proved this one. Congruence modulo m is equivalence relation means it is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. This relation congruent modulo m is transitive. Now from 1 and 2 apply transitive property, you get 3 raised to 50 is congruent to 2 mod 7. Therefore 2 is the remainder. 2 is the remainder when 3 raised to 50 is divided by 7. I think all of you followed how to use this congruence modulo m relations. I take one more problem here, or can you solve this as exercise? Take this as exercise and solve this. Some exercise I give. Find the remainder. When 5 raised to 225 is divided by 13, and 3 raised to 200 is divided by 13. 5 raised to 200 is divided by 11, and 2 raised to 1000 is divided by 17. To practice the procedure, for that you have to solve the problems. You take this as exercise and solve. Next is application of this is properties. Find the unit digits in 3 raised to 200, 7 raised to 291, 9 raised to 51. Find the unit digit. Now I explain. First consider this number 1027, 4-digit number. What is the unit digit? Unit digit is 7. 10 digit is 2, 100 is 0, 1000 is 1. Unit digit is 7. Now using this congruence modulo m, you can find out the unit digit. When do you get the unit digit? If you divide the number by 10, then the remainder obtained is the unit digit. Therefore, to find the unit digit in any number, you have to divide the number by 10. Here we have obtained the remainder when the numbers are divided by different numbers, 13, 11, 17, so on. But here, find the unit digit means find the remainder when the number is divided by 10. That is the procedure. Now I consider the second problem here. 7 raised to 291. First I consider small power. 7 square is minus 1 mod 10. I think there is no problem in understanding this one. All of you know the congruent modulo m relation. 7 square. What is 7 square? 49. 49 minus of minus 1 is 50. And 10 divides 50. Therefore, we can write 7 square is minus 1 mod 10. Now, I consider 7 square raised to, is it 145? If you take 145, it becomes 290. 7 square raised to 145 becomes 7 raised to 290. So, I take 7 square raised to 145 is minus 1 raised to 145 mod 10. Mod 10. Of course, we get negative sign here. That by using transitive law, we can correct that one. Or at the end, we can get this as positive. So, 7 raised to 290 is congruent to minus 1 mod 10. Therefore 7 raised to 291 is congruent to minus 1 into 7 mod 10. What I did here? I have multiplied by 7 both sides. 7 raised to 290 into 1 is into 7 is 291. So it is minus 7 mod 10. Mod 10. Take this as 1. But minus 7 is 3 mod 10. 3 mod 10. Here to make this positive, minus 7 is 3 mod 10 because minus 7 minus 3 is minus 10. 10 divides minus 10. So we can write minus 7 is 3 mod 10. Take this as 2. From 1 and 2, transitive law, by transitive law, 7 raised to 291 is congruent to 3 mod 10. Therefore, this 3 is the remainder when 7 raised to 291 is divided by 10, or in other words, it is the unit digit of 7 raised to 291. Therefore, the unit digit of 7 raised to 291 is, it is 3. These are some problems where we can use congruent modulo L. Here, if you find out 7 raised to 291, it is a very big number. But we have not calculated that number, 7 raised to 291. But using this technique, we have obtained the unit digit. Remaining 2 problems are exercise. Try to solve the 2 problems. Next property is like this. We take this as header. If A is congruent to B mod M, then AB leave the same remainder when divided by M. You may use this property in while studying further some theorems on congruences. What does result says? If A is congruent to B mod M, then AB leave the same remainder when divided by M. See how to prove this one. We use only definition of congruent modulo M here. Let Q1 be the quotient, R1 be the remainder, when A is divided by M. Say first we start with this. Suppose A is divided by M. What is the quotient? Q1. What is the remainder? R1. We strictly use a division algorithm here. That means that remainder R1 must be less than the divisor M, and it must be non-negative. Therefore, A is equal to M into Q1 plus R1, where R1 is greater than or equal to 0, less than M. By division algorithm, we write like this. Or, how to write this? We have divided A by M and taken Q1 as the quotient. So, it is M Q1. Q1 is the quotient. R1 is the remainder. What is R1? R1 is, this R1 is therefore, it is what is this? A minus M Q1, or A is equal to M into Q1 plus R1. Take this as 1. R1 is less than M, greater than or equal to 0. Similarly, let Q2 be the remainder, and Q2 be the quotient, Q2 be the quotient, R2 be the remainder when B is divided by M. B is divided by M. We take like this. Q2 and R2 as quotient and remainder respectively. Q2 R2. Therefore, as written here, B is equal to M into Q2 plus R2. Take this as 2. Now I consider 1 minus 2. What does 1 minus 2 gives? A minus B is M into Q1 minus Q2 plus R1 minus R2. Take this as 3. But what is given? It is given A is congruent to B mod M. B mod M. And you know the definition of congruence modulo M. A is congruent to B mod M means M divides A minus B. Therefore, M divides A minus B into X also. X also. Now see this 3. M divides A minus B into X means M divides A minus B into Q1 minus Q2 plus M doesn't divide A minus M doesn't divide M divides A minus B. What happened here? A minus B is M into Q1 minus Q2. Correct? So M divides A minus B into X. That means when we say that M divides A minus B, okay, let me explain here. A minus B is M into K. A is congruent to B mod M means M divides A minus B. So A minus B is M into K. From 3, A minus B into M into K. When A minus B becomes M into K, if this is 0, this is 0. Because from 1 and 2, we have, if A is Q1, Q2, R1, R2 are the remainders we have taken. What is given? A is B mod M. M divides A minus B. Therefore, A minus B is M into K. This is important. Therefore, A minus B is M into Q1 minus Q2. But this is not. It must be when A minus B becomes M into K. A minus B becomes M into K only when R1 minus R2 is 0. Given. Therefore, A minus B is M into Q1 minus Q2. This implies R1 minus R2 is 0. Therefore, R1 is equal to R2. That means these two are same. R1, R2 must be equal. What are R1, R2? R1, R2 are the remainders when A and B are divided by M. So, if A is congruent to B mod M, then A and B leave the same remainder when divided by M. We may use this result in future while studying number theory. We may use this one. On congruences, I think this type of problems are sufficient for your syllabus. Next topic is the product of R consecutive integers is divisible by factorial R, or you can use this notation. Factorial R are denoted by two notations, factorial R or this. Understand the result, very important it is. Again, we apply this to solve many problems. The product of R consecutive integers is divisible by factorial r. I explain what is this by taking example, then prove this one. Take 5 into 6 into 7. What is this? Product of 3 consecutive integers. That is important. Consecutive integers. It is divisible by 3 factorial. What is 3 factorial? 3 into 2, 6. And you can easily verify it is divisible by 6. You can take any product of any r consecutive integers. It is divisible by factorial r. I take 9 into 10 into 11. It is product of 3 consecutive integers. It is also divisible by factorial 3. How is it divisible by factorial 3? Factorial 3 means 6. 6. Is it divisible by 6? 9, 10, 11. I verify this. 9 into 10 into 11 divided by 6. 3 into 2, 3 into 5 and 2 into 5. Yes, it is divisible by 6. So the result is any product of r consecutive integers. Suppose there is a product of 10 consecutive integers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many? I have taken 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then it is divisible by 10 factorial. Divisible by 10 factorial. That is the result. That is the result. Now, how to prove this one? Different methods are there, but I found this method very simple and convincing. So I have taken this method. Proof of this, we have NCRs. You have studied all these things as a PUC classes. You have studied combinations, permutations, these notations. What is NCR? NCR is n factorial by n minus r factorial into r factorial. Remember this result. What is NPR? NPR is, it is actually NPR is this. What is NPR? NPR is, it is n into n minus 1, n minus 2, etc. n minus r minus 1. It is NPR. But we have proved that this also we have expressed in terms of factorial notation. NPR is n factorial by n minus r factorial, because we have multiplied and divided by n minus r, n minus r minus 1, n minus r minus 2, so on. By multiplying that, we can prove that NPR is n factorial by n minus r factorial. But the important thing is, what is NPR? Product of r consecutive integers starting from n. Product of r consecutive integers, that is NPR. Now, using these two, NCR is NPR upon r factorial, because what is this? It is NPR by r factorial. Therefore, NCR is, what is NPR? Product of r consecutive integers, product of r consecutive integers divided by r factorial. Every step is quite straightforward. I think you understood this one. Therefore, NCR into r factorial is product of r consecutive integers. Now, what does this implies? See, we have this one. B is A into K here, of this form. Is it of this form? Product of r consecutive integers is B, and is A K. A K. This is K and this is A and this is B. If B is equal to K, you say that A divides B. When you say that A divides B, B is equal to K into A. Definition of divisibility. A divides B if B is equal to K into A. Now compare this with B is equal to K into A. What does this imply? R factorial divides product of R consecutive integers. This is very simple and convincing proof. So I use this proof. There are many other proofs. You can go through different textbook on number theory. You will find proof for this one. I prefer this one. What is the theorem? Product of R consecutive integers is divisible by factorial R. First to see the divisibility definition. A divides B means B is equal to K into A, where K is some integer. Very important, it must be some integer. Here, in other words, or it is if and only if B is K into A, then A divides B. Now finally we have obtained this B is K into A. This is integer, K is some integer. So A divides product that is R factorial or factorial R divides product of R consecutive integers, or in other words, product of R consecutive integers is divisible by factorial R. We have used a simple thing here. Now this has very nice application. This has, I explain by taking examples here. I consider some few examples in this video. Next, you give many problems as exercise. First problem is, prove that n into n square minus 1 is a multiple of 6. See, suppose it is not given, what is n? It is not mentioned, then it is understood n is positive integer or a natural number. Problem is, prove that n into n square minus 1 is multiple of 6. For any n here, n may be any natural number, then it is multiple of 6 or 6 divides this. How to prove this one? We use the previous result, that is, what does the result says? Product of R consecutive integers is divisible by factorial R. Now consider n into n square minus 1. It is n into n minus 1 into n plus 1, or n minus 1 n minus 1 n plus 1. Is it a product of consecutive integers, successive integers? N minus 1, next n, next n plus 1. So this is product of 3 consecutive integers. Product of 3 consecutive integers. See here, theorem states product of any 3 consecutive. It may not start from 1. It may be start from any number, but it must be consists of 3 consecutive numbers. Here 3 consecutive numbers. It is product of 3 consecutive numbers. Therefore, divisible by 3 factorial. 3 factorial means 6. 3 into 2. 3 factorial is 3 into 2 into 1. 6. So this is divisible by 6. Say, what a wonderful application of this previous result. Next is, prove that n raised to 5 minus n is always divisible by 6. Always divisible by 6. For this type of problems, where n is general integer, that means natural number, we have to use this procedure, or we have to use the previous result. Now, what is divisible by 6? Is always divisible by 6. Yes, it is divisible by 6. Consider n raised to 5 minus n. What is this? N raised to 5 minus n can be written as n into n raised to 4 minus 1, n into n square minus 1 into n square plus 1. We have factorized this. It is n into n minus 1, n plus 1 into n square plus 1, or n minus 1, n plus 1, n square plus 1. Now see this part, it is product of 3 consecutive integers. Therefore this is divisible by 6. 3 factorial, it is divisible by 6. If a number, suppose a divides b, then a divides b into x. We use that property here. 6 divides n minus 1, n plus 1. Therefore 6 divides n minus 1, n plus 1 into n square plus 1. Because if a divides b, then a divides bx. 6 divides n minus 1, n plus 1, because using that property. What is that? Product of 3 consecutive integers is divisible by 3 factorial. 6 divides this. Therefore 6 divides n minus 1, n plus 1 into n square plus 1. Therefore n raised to 5 minus n is always divisible by 6. Divisible by 6. Here only thing is, in many of the problems we have to use this result. What is the result? Product of r consecutive integers is divisible by factorial r. That result. Next problem is, prove that n into n plus 1 into n plus 5 is a multiple of 6. Multiple of 6. Now is it possible to write this as a product of 3 consecutive integers? That is the problem here. If we express this, then you can easily use that result. Now I write like this: n into n plus 1, n plus 5 is, it is n into n plus 1 into n plus 2 plus 3. 5 can be written as plus 2 plus 3. So n into n plus 1, n plus 2 plus 3n into n plus 1. Now what is this? It is product of 3 consecutive integers, n, next n plus 1, next n plus 2. It is product of 3 consecutive integers, therefore divisible by 3 factorial or 6. See, the first part is divisible by 6, or it is a multiple of 6. Take second one. What is this second one? Consider only n into n plus 1. What is this? N into n plus 1 is product of 2 consecutive integers. It is divisible by 2 factorial. But it is into 3 is there. So it is divisible by 2 factorial into 3. That is divisible by 6. So this is divisible by 6. Second term is divisible by 6. Therefore their sum is divisible by 6. So it is divisible by 6. This is the problem. Let us consider some more examples in the next video. Okay, thank you.